morning, everyone. Welcome to civil procedure. This is what we're here for, right? It's Friday. We do civil procedure on Fridays, and that's why we love Fridays. And what is happening in your legal universe? Well, if you're able, through the bleary haze of second-year law school, if you're able to listen to any news, you probably heard about this one, right? The Supreme Court, to commemorate the 9/11 terror attacks, not really, but on 9/11, issued what the headlines are saying is the big go-ahead to the Trump administration to totally change the rules for Central Americans who are seeking asylum in the United States. The rule imposed by the Trump administration, for those of you who don't know, is you have to seek asylum in some other country on the way here before you can seek asylum here. Totally new, totally different change to the way in which we do things here. The court, the California court, the lower court, the district court, says, no, you can't do that, right? And when a court says, no, you can't do that, because we can't read the news like normal people anymore. Now we have to read the news like lawyers, right? When the court says, no, you can't do that anymore, what have they done? What is the procedural device that they've used? Probably, to tell the government they can't do something anymore. An injunction, right? So the district court, federal district court, says, no, you probably can't do that because it probably violates the Constitution. That's called a preliminary injunction. Right? And the difference between a preliminary injunction and a permanent injunction is that a preliminary injunction is preliminary and a permanent injunction is permanent. Right? Those are the two different kinds that you can get. So right off the bat, if something really bad is happening and you want the government or any other defendant to stop it, you ask for a preliminary injunction. That's what the plaintiffs did in this case at the district court. The district court said, yeah, we give you the preliminary injunction, we're going to stop the rule from going into effect for now, and then we'll make a full ruling on the merits later, and maybe I'll enter a permanent injunction. Usually, if a preliminary injunction gets entered, it's a pretty good indication that a permanent one is going to be entered later. Everybody with me? Right? The way the news reads is that this rule has been set. The Supreme Court, you see a headline like this, they're like, oh, the Supreme Court has just let the Trump administration do this rule, and so now this is the rule, and this is the law of the land, and this is the full and final, and there's no more. This is the Supreme Court, right? That's the last stop. Not true. So instead of reading the AP story, you, because you've got lawyer brain, terminal lawyer brain, you go to the SCOTUS law, right? And that breaks it down in some combination, some mishmash of English and legalese that might make a little bit more sense to you to explain what's going on procedurally. No reason why you wouldn't be able to keep up with that. The best part about these articles, as opposed to the AP, as opposed to the mainstream media articles, most of them, is that it links to the actual order. When you look at the actual order, well, it doesn't look like a Supreme Court opinion that we're used to, because it's one paragraph long. This is the opinion, right? And then we have a 4-page dissent by Sotomayor and Ginsburg. If you go a little bit beyond the headlines, you see, okay, this is a one paragraph. Is it just that they don't care? They care so little about this issue that they're only going to write one paragraph opinion? No. This is typical for the procedural posture that we're in. Why? Okay. So the federal district court has issued a preliminary injunction, and then what happens? This preliminary injunctive order is appealed to the Ninth Circuit, right? Jesus. Right? The Ninth Circuit gets a crappy fix. Right off the bat. What's unusual about that? It's a terrible way to ask that question. Preliminary injunction, I've already said, is a preliminary order, right? It's not a final order. So for them to have a crack at the appellate court, don't they have to have a final order? We've talked about this in last time. It's got to be a fully final order that adjudicates all the rights that everybody's got in the case, and then you can appeal the thing. Right? Usually that's how it works. Unless there's a statute that says you can go right to the Court of Appeals. And in this case there is. Isn't this fine? Right? So when a court issues, and this is true of almost any court, state or federal, when a court issues a preliminary injunction, the defendant, whoever has been enjoined from doing the thing that they weren't supposed to be doing, has got the right to ask the appellate court to either lift that injunction or do something else, right? You get to run to the appeals, the Court of Appeals right away to see if that injunction really should still be in place. Right? And here's where it gets fun. This is why we're here. The appeal up to the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit says whatever it says, and then there's an automatic right of appeal on the issue of the injunction, the preliminary injunction that goes to the Supreme Court. Right? And this isn't a petition for certiorari. You're asking the court to review the injunctive order. And they have to review it and say, yeah, it's okay to have this injunction in place. No, it's not. Right? So the Supreme Court here, in one paragraph, has said, no, it's not. Go back and litigate. That's what this means. Okay? It's very different. It's very different from Supreme Court allows law enforcement to trump rule, which is technically true, but it makes you think that the whole thing has been fully and finally decided. It's not. They're just getting started. They're just getting started. Okay? So you'll see headlines that probably say the same thing, right? 6 months from now when it's all fully and finally agreed. But see how this works? You file for your injunctive relief. You ask for an immediate injunction. This is an emergency. You gotta have it right away. Court says, okay, I'll give it to you right away, and then we'll sort out the rest later. The defense says, no, I don't like that. I'm going to go to the Ninth Circuit. You really think that injunction ought to be there? The Ninth Circuit says, yes, we really do. You go up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, no. The other courts are wrong about that. No injunction. You go ahead and implement the rule as it is now, and we'll work things out on the back end. Okay? Go back and litigate. But while you're litigating, the rule's going to be in place. Yeah? This is fun, right? If you love this, you can be a procedure expert. Questions about any answer? No? Okay. Then let's move on to discovery. We love discovery. Provided you know what it is. What is it? Well, it's just a method of getting information that you need to be able to try the case. The civil rules, generally speaking, contemplate that there's going to be a trial, which in reality never happens. But that's the way the civil rules are set up. So the whole idea behind discovery is what is the stuff that we need, what are the processes that we need to go through to be able to get information from the other side that we need to be able either to make the claims that we have in our complaints or make the defenses that we have in our answer. That's all it is. That's all it is. How do you get information out of the other side? What are the devices that the court is going to allow you to use to get information out of the other side? How do you go about collecting? You just go to their offices and start taking the stuff that you want? No. The rules tell you what you can and can't do. What do the rules tell you about what you can and can't do? Who knows? We haven't gotten there yet. We're going to talk about each one of these individual discovery devices individually. But what discovery devices can you make? I know you did some of it last semester. Yeah, Jessica? Derogatories, depositions, what else? Requests for production of documents. you guys do some of those last semester or no? No? Yes? You don't know? Okay. Interrogatory. Request for production of documents. Deposition decide. What else? What are the ways in which you can do a deposition? Like, there's different ways you can do deposition. Yeah, what are the ways you can do a deposition? Can you do a deposition in writing? Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, technically, I guess so. It's not really what I'm thinking of. We'll look at that later. Right. No, for right now, yes, you can. You can do written depositions. Okay. You can do what we're used to, the oral depositions, right, in person, under the hot lights. Everybody's seen the little Wayne deposition, right? The little Wayne deposition? I have to run that deposition. I showed that to you guys, am I right? Oh man, that's the greatest deposition. And also be aware, we'll talk about this when we get to our depositions, right? So I don't have to worry too much about it right now. There's a difference between trial depositions and discovery depositions. Okay? Those are two different things. How are they different? We'll talk about it. We're just not there yet. Just be aware that there is a difference. Such a thing as a trial deposition that you're intending to use at trial. But most depositions are discovery depositions where you're trying to figure out what the other side has and how you need to run. Okay? What else? Anything else? Yeah. Subpoenas? Yeah, sure. You can subpoena third parties to get the documents that they have. You can subpoena employment records. You can subpoena medical records. You can subpoena inmate files. It won't work, but you can try. Right? What else? Request for admission.
And
yeah. Where are you getting that, Mr. Baker? No, where are you getting those devices from? Yeah, you look at the rules, right? There's this whole big chapter on discovery, and almost every one of these devices we talk about has its own rule. Right? It's associated. Anything else? That's about it. Let's hold this on the other slide. How is this different, though, before we get there, how is this different from discovery and criminal? How is civil discovery different from civil procedure? Right? So you're not using in your motions and your pleadings and your filings and stuff, you're not using the language of the criminal law. You're not saying somebody's guilty of something. You're not talking about the prosecution. So on and so forth. Keep that in mind. But how is discovery different? Those of you who have some criminal law experience, how is it different in the civil context versus the criminal context, right?
Isn't it civil procedure, it's like everything's discoverable that's not privileged or work product, and in criminal procedure, that's not the case. There's so many things that are specifically discoverable outside of those two.
I think that's right. What is the constitutional consideration in criminal discovery?
You don't have to turn over anything that would incriminate yourself.
There's that, and what else? No reason you should know this unless you take criminal procedure. Yeah. So Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. So that's going to play into discovery and criminal context. There's also, yeah. Yes, exculpatory evidence. That's where I'm going, right? Brady violations. Brady stuff. Brady versus Maryland's case. Right? Those of you who are really interested in criminal law. If you haven't got there in common law, you will. Basically says the prosecution has to turn over exculpatory evidence as a matter of constitutional law. They have to turn over exculpatory evidence to the defense. Here, it's the Wild West. None of that stuff applies, right? Maybe you have a 14th Amendment due process consideration that goes into civil discovery. Maybe, right? But you never litigate that. That never comes up. Whereas the constitutional stuff in the criminal context comes up all the time. So what happens if you get a request, one of these requests we talked about, you're like, man, that's really uncomfortable. It's really bad for my client. I want to turn it over. How do you avoid it? Is he protective order? We'll talk about. Is it possible for you to just ignore it? Can you just ignore it and not turn it over? Technically, no. Right? Especially not if a judge orders you to turn it over. If the judge orders you to turn something over and you still are like, no, I really don't want to do that. What's going to happen to you? I think I heard it. Yeah, you're going to get held in contempt, make it sanctioned. It's going to be very bad for you. We'll talk about all that stuff. Interrogatories, just written questions, request for production of documents, exactly what it says. Give me these documents. Request for admissions. Admit that you ran the red light. Admit or deny. Right? Here's down the issues for trial, in theory. Admit that you had insurance at the time of the auto. Admit. Simple. Depositions with the court reporter, writing down every word everybody says, maybe with a videographer, under oath, or written depositions. By far, more commonly use the oral examination method, right? The in-person method. Sometimes they can be done in writing. You don't see it very much. What I also don't see very much in my line of work, or in what we missed over here, are requests for inspection of land or something like that, right? So you can make a request to enter into a property and to inspect it. Maybe that happens a lot in some kind of litigation. Independent medical examination, physical examination, psychiatric examination. You can order a party to submit to a medical examination. Why would you want to do that? Why would you ever need to do that? Yeah? See if they're competent to stand trial. Maybe. You don't care about that much because if they're incompetent to stand trial, well, they shouldn't sue this in the first place, right? It's not like a criminal case. Competency to stand trial in a criminal context is very different, right?
To refute damages.
Refute damages, that's really the thing, right? This guy smashed me over the head with a beer bottle and I lost sight in my eye and it's real bad. I'm never going to do the same ever again. Well, I don't know about that. Let's have somebody else check you out and verify this, okay? Let's see if you're really hurting as bad as you say you are. Expert stuff is on another planet. We'll talk about that later in subpoenaing documents from non-party, right? That's pretty simple. Send over the subpoena. Ask them for the stuff. They don't want you, let's say you represent a business, just to sort of take this side venture here. Let's say you represent a business that receives a subpoena for 80,000 pages of records. You're like, we're not part of this litigation. We're not a party here. We're not a defendant. This is between two other completely separate people. And yet I've got the subpoena sitting in my lap. Do you have to respond to it? What do you think? It says, yes, you have to respond to the subpoena. Anybody say no? You don't have to respond. You got to do something. What if you don't want to turn it? Do you have to just turn it all over? Do you have to do it? Who's got experience with this? A little bit. Do you have to turn it all over? Just give them the 80,000 pages worth of stuff. What can you do?
Can you fill in the wash
Yeah.
or
Good. You ask for relief from the court. That's basically what you do. We'll talk about what that relief consists of. You go to the court and say, look, we don't want to give them all this 8,000 pages worth of stuff. Why do we have to do that? The court will either say, yes, you do have to give it to them, or no, you don't. Right? Breaking down the different pieces of this gigantic monster rule that we will be referring back to the next couple of weeks. 26. 26A tells you what you have to disclose to the other side. 26B tells you the kind of stuff you can get from it. Let's look at 26B1. But this is some language that pops up throughout the rules, and it's big important that we have a handle on. So we'll look up our rules in America's search engine Bing. The first thing that comes up is this Cornell thing. Right, parties may, so you can see this, parties may obtain discovery regarding any non-privileged matter that is relevant to any party's claim for defense. Pay attention to that language because it comes into your discovery stuff, your discovery requests, and rejections to those discovery requests. Quite a bit. Okay. I think Ryan, in your earlier answer, you already touched on it. What's a non-privileged matter? Or better yet, another way to ask that is, what's a privileged matter? What might that be? Give me an example of a privileged matter that is not subject to discovery. Yeah.
The attorney's personal notes.
Attorney's personal notes?
The strategy.
Oh, is there a term for that? Attorney's personal notes?
Work product.
Work product, that's what it is. Very nice. Work product. That's a big one. The other really big one is?
communications between the client and the lawyer in preparation of litigation.
Is there an easier way to say that, though?
Confidential communications.
Attorney-client privilege, right, attorney-client communications of any kind, not just the preparation of trial. Not just the preparation of trial, right? Of any kind. Don't turn over your emails to your client. And then relevance looms large here, too. So just keep track of that mentally, right? We'll talk about it more. But the two big privileges, work product privilege and attorney-client privilege. Okay. Got it? Work product privilege, attorney-client privilege. Keep track of those. Okay? Those are really important to your life. They're going to be really important to your life as a clerk versus your lawyer. If you're working on civil litigation, those will be your friends. Or your bitter foe, but you have to know that they're out there. And then, is it relevant to any party's claim or defense? Now, that is really what makes litigation fun. Okay? Relevance. Because it might surprise you to know that the parties often differ on what is relevant to claims and defenses and what is not. So do we spend a lot of time arguing about that when we're in the discovery phase? Well, yes. Yes, we do. I'm not turning that over because it's not relevant to any claim or defense. Well, actually, I think it is relevant. Okay? And so the court has to get involved and they get grumpy about that. 26C tells you what happens, what you can do if you don't want to answer a discovery request that's been propounded on you. We'll get into that one now. 26D basically tells you when can you start doing discovery. And what does 26D tell us about when? I'm sure you've committed this entire rule of memory by now. What does 26D tell you about when you can start the discovery process in federal? If it's not up there, you might have to look at the rule. Yeah. Check this out. Let's go all the way down from C and then D. Party may not seek discovery from any source before the parties have conferred as required by Rule 26F. And that's clear, right? We have to jump all the way down to 26F, go on this wild goose chase. Basically, you can't start doing discovery in federal court until the court says so. Right? That's the best way to remember this. But that's just federal court. Right? So in the federal court, you can file your complaint, and that complaint could be sitting there for quite a while, months, before you ever serve the first discovery request. Really? You can just sit there for months before anything happens in that case? Yeah, the wheels of justice turn slowly. It requires a lot of patience, unfortunately. Now, Kentucky. Different story. Look at 3301. First of all, what's the counterpart? Before we look at 3301. 26D. What's the Kentucky counterpart to 26D? Huh? CR. What do you think? I think an educated guess. CR 26.
04.
4, right. 26.04. Right? Have a look, if you can get there quickly, at CR 2604. Tell me what the critical difference is between Federal Rule 26D and CR 2604. You should see it right. You should see it right away. You guys really that burnt out this week?
Yes.
Really? What's going on? You got journal articles due or something? What's happening? No, nobody's doing that yet. This is simple. This is really easy stuff. We're still in the easy stuff. That whole timing section is not there, right? That whole timing section was not there at all. Now they'll look at 3301 we have the Kentucky rules. I said FRCP, that's wrong. Kentucky Rule 33. What does CR 3301 tell you to do? It's something pretty specific, and it's an important distinction. Remember where we were. 26D says you wait to serve any discovery request until the court says it's okay. Yeah.
3301 is that once the action is going to the case serve on
Yeah, what happens? You're there, you got it.
yes, interrogatory can serve on the plaintiff after commencement of the action, and on the other party with or after service of the summons on that.
Yeah, with or after service of the summons. Does that mean you can send a set of interrogatories along with the summons and the complaint and serve that on a defendant? Is that what that means? There's a real diversity of answers on it. Look at the rule if you're not sure. If you're not able to read that rule and discern from that rule, you may have a problem on finding the exam. That is in fact what it means. That is in fact what it means. You can, it's very different from federal procedure. You can bundle up whatever discovery request you want along with the summons and the complaint and say, here you go, answer these. And answer the complaint, by the way. Okay? Those of you that are looking at 3301. Are there any special provisions that come along with that? Anything extra? You can do this.
Then you said 15 more days.
You have 15 more days, 45 days to answer the interrogatories as opposed to 30. Okay? But right there, line one rule. Go ahead.
Does that ever really happen? You know,
Yeah.
when you serve your hard work that
Yep. Yeah. I wouldn't be spending time giving you guys over high goals on this if it didn't really happen. It does happen. It's a good thing to know as a claims lawyer too, especially if you use the federal practice because you don't know. So you can do that, but you don't know the rules. You can. And you can get things started pretty quick, which can be a problem in state court. You'll see. 26E tells you when you have to fix the stuff that you've already disclosed, when you have to read to supplement those responses you've already made. In other words, 26F, we'll talk about how we begin this whole thing, how does discovery get off the ground. And we'll look at F3E. And when we look at this case management plan that I'm about to show you, you'll see why this is so important. Because as you read this, if you read the entire rule, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, there's so much here to comply with. There's like 14 days, and 30 days, and 90 days, and 21 days, and how am I ever going to keep track of all this stuff? You're not alone, okay? And because of this language right here, you can get together and agree with the other side, or even if you don't agree with the other side, the court is going to tell you what changes should be made, limitations on discovery imposed from these rules or by local rule, and what other limitations should be imposed. What does that mean? It means that all that stuff that's there in Rule 26 in most federal courts is not going to be exactly what it says in Rule 26. You're going to change it at the beginning. And you're going to make a timetable that everybody can live with, and that's very clear in that case management plan. The final version of the case management plan, not put on Blackboard, everybody saw that, right? If not, you won't. Okay, so that's important. This stuff gets changed. And 26G says don't get to sign other stuff. Okay? The case management conference is the first thing that happens. The court will sua sponte. Sua sponte, what's sua sponte mean? Come on, you made it all the way through the first year. Sua sponte by itself set the case management conference. This is, we're in federal land. I'll talk about the state here in a minute. The federal court sets up the case management conference. Judge determines basically all the dates that are going to apply in your litigation, and then signs the order that has all those dates set forward, which starts off as that uniform case management plan in the jurisdictions. Okay? When you do these case management conferences, we'll have the judge or the magistrate on the phone, usually, and they're usually pretty short. Does everybody agree on all these dates? Yes? Okay. Is there anything else we need to take up? No? Everybody have a nice day. Okay. Not always. You can be taken by surprise if you don't know the lay of the land, as I have before. Going to a simple case management conference on an employment case, employment discrimination case in the Middle District of Tennessee, which is national. The court that I had not practiced in before. They wanted us to go down in person for this case management conference, which I thought was a little strange because most federal courts do it telephonically, and we proceeded to have a 2-hour case management conference where we hashed out every single day, all the claims in the lawsuit, all the defenses in the lawsuit, which I was kind of prepared to talk about. Right? So know the lay of the land, but for the most part, especially Kentucky practitioners, this is going to be short and sweet. Real quick. Okay with the dates that are in the case management plan? Okay. Everybody go on. And you can change those dates along the way too. That often happens. Some courts get pretty grumpy about it, some not. Just know what you're doing. So prior to, and I've referred to it a bunch of times, you've seen it already. Prior to that case management conference, under the rules, 21 days prior to the case management conference, you have to confer with the other side. And the idea behind conferring with the other side, talking to your opponent, is that you can get all this stuff hashed out before it ever gets to the court in the first place. So you have some idea of what the dates are that you're going to be asking for, and most courts are going to require you to submit that case management plan document in some format, so the court has something to refer to, and all the parties have something to refer to when you're putting stuff on your calendar. Okay? Questions about that? It's easy, right? Easy. Case management plan is helpful if you're struggling with trying to figure out how 26 is supposed to work in the wild. Okay? In some ways, it's a little bit more helpful, I think, to understand how the rules of civil procedure are supposed to actually work in practice. I think it's a little more helpful to look at a case management plan that's actually been executed than it is to look at the rule itself. Now, Indiana makes it easy. Right? The link that I sent you makes it really easy. Here's the uniform case management plan for the Southern District of Indiana. This is what we're going to use. It's in all of our divisions in the Southern District. So we're just going to build off of this. They throw you a bone. In the Kentucky courts, not so much. Right? So what happens if you don't have a uniform case management plan to build off of? How do you put together a case management plan? This is not rule stuff. This is street smart stuff. So like, shit, I've got to put together a case management plan. How do I do it? You're resourceful people. What would you do? Yeah, that's right. Find another one that's already been filed someplace. Right? Because you know, at least if there's something that's been filed in the last year or so, it's easy to find in another federal case. You just get on Pacer and grab it off there. Okay? All that stuff is available electronically, or get it from another practitioner. So if you're painfully shy, like Ms. Greenwell is, it may be difficult, you can just pull it off the Pacer. You can be pretty sure that that's going to work because it's already been put in place by some other court, right? Or some other time. What the rules require you to do is to tender one of these guys, 21 to at least talk to the other side. Maybe you talk to the other side and you can't come up with an agreement on anything. Does that happen? Yeah. Maybe you come to an agreement on some things and not the other stuff. And then you're in the unenviable position of having to go to the court of that case management plan and say, well, we didn't submit a proposed case management plan because we just can't get along, Judge. How do you think that's going to play?
Not very well.
You have to get along with the other side, right? You have to figure out ways to get along with the other side. And if you can't figure out ways to get along with the other side, you have to at least find a way to make yourself appear to be the most reasonable person in the room. It may happen that you're litigating against someone who's totally unreasonable. Fine. Make sure the court knows that. And as I said, don't freak out about the rest of the time constraints in Rule 26. We have this uniform case management. Everybody see that? If not, pull it up with me. Okay? You may want to win. 200%. Let's see how it is. No, it's too big. Let's do that. A little bit, huh? This reference here. What is this referring to? What is that?
Subdivision for Indiana.
Okay.
Subdivision for Indiana, local rule 16.
Yes, yeah, the local rule. Okay. That's a reference to the local rule. Should you just read right by that and not look at the local rule? No, should we read the local rule? Okay. Will you in practice? Probably not. But that's okay. You may learn some hard lessons. Review. Show. One important thing to know when you're in the local rules where you're practicing is whether or not you take all this discovery stuff that you're going to generate throughout the course of a case. Deposition, let's say you got a 200-page deposition, and 80,000 pages that you receive from a third party via subpoena. Do you file all that stuff with the court? Do you file it all with the court? Who says yes? Who says no? Who says it depends? Only two of you say it depends, 3, 4? I mean, that's always the answer to go with, really. Right? That's always the answer to go with. Because there's a local rule that covers this, right? For some district in Indiana. You don't file discovery papers with them. But can you believe that there was a time up until, 7 years ago, that we filed all the depositions that were taken in the case with the Jefferson Circuit Court? All those paper copies got filed with the Jefferson Circuit Court. That's a fairly recent development. Every time that I've been practicing, they stopped doing that. And it's because the chief judge ordered, please stop filing all this crap with the court. Right? You just hang on to it, and then when there's a portion of that deposition you think I should look at, give you that. Right? But is it still the case out in the counties that you have to file all your depositions with the court? Yeah, some of them. Some of them. No by court, no by judge. Prior to filing a non-dispositive motion, right? Non-dispositive meaning, you know what dispositive motions are by now, I hope, right? Dispositive motions, motions to dismiss, motions for summary judgment, motions that dispose of the case. Anything that's not that, the moving party must contact opposing counsel to determine whether or not there's an objection. You can just file your motion in the middle of the night. You have to ask the other side if they object to it. And say whether or not they do. That's a peculiar requirement of this court. And do people flout that requirement? Oh, for sure. What a good idea. If you can put something in a motion, it's because the court is constantly trying to make its own life easier, right? Courts have lots of work to do. And so if you can put in a motion, it makes your life easier too. If you can put in a motion, there's no opposition to this. The other side has no objection. It can be pretty quickly granted. And it makes their life easier. Federal Rules, Civil Procedure 26, initial disclosures. What are initial disclosures? Well, you're about to find out. Okay? You're about to find out in Rule 26A. 26A, 1 tells you all this stuff that you have to give the other side as a matter of course. That doesn't happen in state court. It just happens in federal. Some state courts might have that rule. I've never practiced in that. But in the federal court, there's stuff that you have to give out automatically. It'll be covered by a case management. Preliminary witness and exhibit list. You're like, how do I know what witnesses and exhibits to use if we haven't even done discovery yet? What's the point of this? What's the point of doing that? What's the point of saying a preliminary witness and exhibit list if you haven't even done any discovery? What do we think? Think like words. Yeah. You don't notice. You're helping to shape the discovery that's actually going to happen. Right? You're helping to shape that discovery. You're helping to streamline things. Right? Civil procedure, civil litigation isn't about the art of surprise. There's a big long passage in your book. Those of you who are still reading the book. There's a big long passage in that. It's not like that. And in that way, it differs pretty significantly from a lot of criminal procedure that's out there. There's no element of surprise in civil litigation. Usually not, right? You get to know, in most courts, pretty much everything that's going to happen before it happens. Yes?
For preliminary witness list, can we make, like, can you just say,
I mean, you have to.
responding, officers and or personnel?
Yeah, you want to be as specific as you can with that. I mean, I think everybody tends to understand, unless you got a judge that's a total tyrant. Like, everybody tends to understand, we don't really know that much about it. We're just trying to get an idea of what this is going to look like in the future, right? Special damages, you have to file a statement of special damages. What are special damages? Have you heard this term before? You talk about this in torts? It comes up a lot. It comes up a lot. We need to know that. What are special damages? There's general damages and then there's special damages. Anybody know? Well, no, punitive would be special. Yes.
Is this approval out of pocket expenses?
Yes, yes. Stuff that, it doesn't even necessarily have to be out of pocket expenses, but it's stuff that you can definitely assign a dollar value to. I think it's a good way to think about it, just out of pocket expenses, right? But general damages, like punitive damages are a good example of general damage. But I would like the jury to give me as much as possible, right? In pain and suffering, and emotional distress, and punitive damages, and all these different categories of damages we have. I really like the jury to give me whatever you want to give me. Great, $1 billion. But my lost wages, I can table at $28,652.35. Right? That's special damages. My medical bills, $148,000 and 12 cents. Special damages. General is like, well, shoot for the moon, jury. Think about that. It's something you can table, something you can assign a definite dollar value to, as opposed to just hoping you get as much as you want. Final witnesses and exhibit list. So you get to refine what you file in your preliminary witness exhibit list. What they say here, it is not sufficient for a party to simply incorporate by reference any witness listed in discovery or such general statements. Why do you think this shows up in a standard order in the Indiana Southern District? Because practitioners are doing this stuff all the time. Right? I don't know who my witnesses are, but I'm going to list these 3 guys and anybody else on the planet. Also, anyone with the last name Smith and anyone of Lithuanian heritage. I mean, you'll see people try to use these blanket catch-all type of statements, and the court is saying we don't like that. Bifurcation of discovery. Bifurcation of trial. Anybody have experience with that? What is a bifurcated trial? Yeah.
Like separation of charges, but I don't know how it works.
Could be. You run into that a lot in criminal cases. You have 2 defendants that are being tried for the same thing. Trial is bifurcated. Oh, we're going to do this guy's trial over here and this other guy's trial over here, even though it's the same crime. But it happens in the civil context too. So would it be possible if you have a trial on liability and then a whole separate trial on damages? Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. Why would you ever do that? It seems pretty wasteful, right? Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever have a separate trial on damages? Separate jury trial on damages than what you had on liability? Is there a reason you can think of?
Looking like something to do with statute of limitations and still treating.
Oh, I mean, that maybe, but I don't think so. That's not really, at least that's not what I had in my head. I guess there could conceivably be a scenario where that arises. Probably not. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it really the same jury that found liability would be able to fairly determine damages?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that if I have a jury that rules in my favor on liability, I kind of want that jury sitting, in the damages phase. If the defendant says, no, it's no fair to have the same jury decide liability and damages, I don't think that's going to carry much favor with the court. Yeah.
One has to separate liability from insurance claims.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a reason. That could be a reason. If you separate liability, because you essentially then you have different pockets, right? But if you separate liability from damages, in the liability phase, then you don't have to try out all your proof about damages. Right? You have a couple of days worth of proof on damages if you have a severely injured client. Right? You take a lot to prove damages. So you might want to do that in a separate trial after liability has been determined, when you know the defendant is more likely to fold and you may not have to jump through that hoop in the first place, right? Much more likely to settle the case under those circumstances. But it's rare. You don't hardly ever know. ESI, right, electronic disorder information, more and more courts are starting to issue orders that are more and more specific about this stuff. I know a little bit, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I can tell you this much. This is the wave of the future. Almost nobody knows anything about it. And if you want to make tons and tons and tons of money, you become an ESI. That's your money's worth for today's class. Go and learn everything you possibly can about ESI, write articles about it, do CLEs about it. And lo and behold, you will never stop working. This is funny. I just point this out because it's a very funny joke hidden here in this case management plan, because otherwise it's pretty dry. The court requires counsel to use the case management plan as an opportunity to seriously explore whether this case is appropriate for dispositive motions. Right? In other words, is this really the kind of case that's going to be subject to a motion for summary judgment? Do we really think that a motion for summary judgment is going to be filed in this case? Let's have a serious discussion about it. Okay. In fact, what is the percentage of cases in which a dispositive motion is filed? Yeah, I mean, I think it's 100, maybe more than 100% if that's possible. Right? Because if you're the defendant, you don't want to leave that procedural device behind. You don't want to, in most cases, unless you think you can get in and try the case cheaper than you can preparing and filing a dispositive motion, and you're trying to save your client some money, which would be extremely rare, right? Not extremely rare that you want to save your client money, but extremely rare that it would be cheaper to just go try the case. You're going to file a dispositive motion. You almost have to, right? You almost have to. Even though many of them are bullshit. Okay. Statement of claims and defenses is the stuff that you have to do right before trial. File your statement of claims and defenses that you intend to prove a trial. Stating specifically the legal theories upon which claims and defenses are based. No surprises, right? All the witnesses are known ahead of time. All the exhibits are known ahead of time. Now, might it be different in some state courts? Sure. All this stuff you know ahead of time, okay? In the federal courts, everybody's going to know. It's not going to be a surprise. Not likely to be a surprise. The perionation moment does not happen. Select a track that best suits this case. Track 1, which nobody ever uses, says no dispositive motions are anticipated. Track 2, dispositive motions are going to be filed by such and such date. Track 3 is just a different take on that. You can read through that one. Okay. All issues raised. This is interesting too. This court limits you, and we talked about this earlier in the semester, this court limits you to one motion for summary judgment and only one, unless you go and ask the court, can I file another motion for summary judgment? Okay. That's important for the civil defense bar, especially if you love filing 5 or 6 motions for summary judgment in the same case, which some defense lawyers do. Okay. The magistrate judge sometimes plays a big role in these cases, and sometimes not. Everybody know what a magistrate judge is? Yeah, some experience with that, maybe a little bit. The magistrate judge is like the mini boss. Okay. The judge is the boss, and the magistrate judge is the guy that you got to fight to get to the boss. But the magistrate usually will conduct the settlement conferences, and settlement conferences are almost always ordered, right? The magistrate judge at least does that, and then usually will manage things like discovery. In some cases, you can turn over, if everybody agrees to it, you can turn over the whole case to the magistrate judge. Your judge would probably like that a lot. Turn over the whole case to the magistrate judge, say, you try everything, you make all the decisions. You can do that, but everybody has to agree to it. The magistrate judge is sort of there. You're not a lifetime appointment the way the federal judges are. You're just there to help the judge. Requesting the trial date. Oh, there's a referral to the magistrate judge section, and everybody agrees to it. This lays it all out, though. Right? This lays out everything that's going to happen in the case. Oh, separation of witnesses. I don't know, maybe I want to talk about this. Stipulations of fact. Again, we're trying to streamline the process by submitting stipulations of fact and inviting to the court. We don't really need to spend 2 days on establishing the venue in this case, establishing where it happens, because everybody agrees to that. Okay? Tell the court what you agree on, so you don't waste any time on it. If you intend to offer any depositions into evidence. So sometimes you can take these depositions. Let's say you take a deposition of a witness and that witness dies before trial, because it took you 7 years to get a trial, so I'm done. So you can take the deposition of a witness and that witness dies. And then you can say, then what? Well, that's an evidentiary rule thing, but you can, at least in theory, play that deposition, or read that deposition into evidence or parts of it, right? The reason that you want that ahead of time is because the court is probably going to tear it down. If you're going to play deposition testimony, especially if it was a discovery deposition, then the judge is going to say, well, you can read these pages, but you can't read these other pages. When people really get up on the stand and read out a deposition transcript at trial, when you really play a video from a deposition that's been all chopped up at a trial, yes, you do. It really happens. That's the majesty of the law. You're providing all this stuff ahead of time. Again, there's no surprise. Trial briefs saying, here's what our trial looks like. Motions in limine. Remember the most secrecy of all motions that happen before your trial that pertain to issues that you're going to be talking about in trial. Jury instructions, voir dire questions. Submit those ahead of time in the federal court. Right? Not so much in state court, but in the federal court, you're sending them the voir dire questions ahead of time, and the court conducts the voir dire. Everybody knows the voir dire, right? Jury selection. You're even notifying the court of request for separation of witnesses in trial. What's a request for separation of witnesses? Those of you that have done some trial practice, I'll go over this with you. It is the single most popular request in any trial of any kind. Not sequestering. But you're not letting witnesses hear the testimony of other witnesses. Sequestration usually refers to a jury. You're keeping the jury away from the media and the general public and all that stuff. The separation of witnesses is simply, you don't let witnesses hear other witnesses' testimony. And you probably want that, both sides usually want it. And that's it. All your dates, everything that you could ever possibly want out of the case is set forth in writing in this case management plan. They look a little bit different from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but they're all basically like this. And then there's the language here that allows the court to just sign off on it. And it's an order. And it has all the force of an order. A court order. Right? That's typically how we do this. Now, what happens in the state court? Well, as in most things, it depends, right? But you're probably not going to have anything this detailed out of most state courts, certainly not in Kentucky. In Kentucky, it's the Wild West. You file your complaints, maybe you serve some discovery on the other side in most counties, and you're on your own. The court doesn't sui sponte set a conference. The court doesn't sui sponte do anything. You have to ask the court to do something. The court is not involved in your litigation. You do it. You take care of it with the other side. And there's no hard date set on anything unless and until you ask the court for a trial date. When you're ready for trial, then you go, and that's a good way to keep the case moving, by the way. If you're in a plaintiff's practice and nothing's breaking loose for you, you can't get anybody to write you any checks. Start asking for trial dates. Because that moves the litigation along. Once you ask for a trial date, every court is different. But most of them, especially the Jefferson Circuit Court, will issue you a trial order that says everything is due by this date. Okay? Witness list by this date, exhibit list by this date, dispositive motions by this date, so on and so forth. They're all different. But you're not having to, and I think the important takeaway here is that you're not having to scour the rules of civil procedure every hour of every day to try to figure out what your next deadline is. The courts, for the most part, set that out for you. Okay? And all this stuff is squishy. You can change it if you need to change it. Questions about any of that stuff? We don't have time to write a case management plan. If I had an extra hour in here, I'd write. Just know that. But if you want to write one, which I can imagine would be a pretty boring exercise for your infinite spare time, go ahead and you can email it to me. Otherwise, you're free to go. Have a good week.